Hi guys! I wanted to hop on and do kind of a quick snippet video talking about frequencies. I mentioned this in my video I did yesterday, that I've been doing a lot of research on energetic frequencies, particularly with the human body and essential oils. And this is something that I haven't seen a lot of people talk about, and I've been getting a lot of questions on people who want to know about this. This is kind of the information that I found based on the scientific standpoint of how essential oils help support our bodies. Because I know that when I first got into this, even up until recently, I knew that they helped and I knew that they were great for so many different things, but I didn't really get the piece of why. How does it actually work? How does it, a lot of times if you have essential oil reference books or even just talking to people, a lot of times people will have specific recommendations of certain oils that are good for certain body systems or, different effects depending on what in your body you're trying to support. And I didn't understand how that worked. You know what I mean? It's how do you know that lavender is good for this? And how do you know that peppermint is good for that? So this kind of touches on that. It's a lot of science, it's a lot of numbers, so I'm actually planning on doing a full online class on this, so I'm not going to go super crazy in detail here. I just kind of wanted to go over some of the basics and kind of get the juices flowing for anybody who does want to go to the class. So the idea behind this, especially if you're in the spiritual community or anything like that, you probably hear people talk a lot about vibration, right? Everybody wants to be in a high vibrational state. Usually people are trying to move from a low vibrational state to a high vibe. And again, even when you get into that realm, it's I don't really understand what people mean. How can you tell what your vibration is? So there have actually been a couple of scientists who have created different tools that can actually measure the vibrational frequency of different things. So somebody did actually map out the vibrational frequency of the human body, as well as some other things like plants and food, just to kind of get an idea of where everything falls on the spectrum. And this is, at least for this particular, in terms of the human body and essential oils, that's all measured in megahertz. So to give you an idea, when they did this measurement, they found that the normal, healthy human body vibrates at about 62 to 68 megahertz, which kind of doesn't really, just knowing that information, it kind of doesn't, what does that mean? Why do we care about that? Well, what they had also found out is that the normal body vibrates on that scale from anywhere to 62 to 68 megahertz, and that is us running at our optimal frequency, our optimal condition. What they found is if your vibration dips lower, and again, that range for the human body is for the whole human body together. Each particular organ and body system does have a slightly different vibrational frequency, if you were going to talk about just the heart or just the liver. But overall, 62 to 68 is where the healthy human body falls in that category. What they found is that when the human body drops below those normal frequencies, when they drop below 62 megahertz, the cells in the body begin to mutate, and that is when we experience illness and disease, and that is when our immune system starts to become compromised. So again, I'm not going to run through every single number in this, but for an example, when the body drops to 58 megahertz, that is when we start experiencing cold symptoms because our immune system is compromised. And this goes all the way down the list of all sorts of different, little things that we might experience when we're not feeling good. And they actually found out that at 25 megahertz, that is when the body begins to die. That is when the death process begins, which is really crazy that somebody mapped that out, but they do have that information. So the idea behind this, behind frequencies and using that to help the human body, obviously that does happen where we fall below our normal optimal vibrational frequency. Our immune systems are compromised, we get a little sick, we get flu, we get colds, and we're constantly wanting to balance that out, right? Because once we get back up to that stable line, the wellness line, as we like to call it, that is when we're running at our optimal health. So the things around us can actually influence our vibrational frequency. I was trying to pull up the study to get the details on it, but there was this cool study I heard when I was researching this about when they had this machine to measure the vibrational frequency, they had someone stand in front of the machine that was able to read it, and they knew that 62 to 68 megahertz was normal human body. They gave this person a cup of coffee to hold and not drink it. They were literally just holding it, and they immediately saw a drop in that person's vibrational frequency. I don't remember what other things they tried, but they, took the coffee cup back, handed the person various different things, had them eat different things, and they saw that the vibration shifted. And again, if you're in the spiritual community, there's a lot of talk of outside influences will shift your vibrational frequency, right? So to give you some other numbers of the human body in relation to like food. Fresh produce, and this depends on how fresh, but fresh produce vibrates at about 10 to 15 megahertz. So that's not a whole lot compared to the human body, which is up in like the 60s, but it does have a vibrational frequency. Dried herbs, which is stuff, in your, I was gonna say medicine cabinet, that's not the word I'm looking for, spice cabinet. That vibrates at about 12 to 22 megahertz. And then we bump up to fresh herbs. So this is if you have an herb garden, if you're like growing your own basil or growing your old cilantro, whatever. If you're using fresh herbs and you're eating them, that has a megahertz of about 20 to 27. And a side note, processed and canned food, 0. No vibrational frequency at all. Which, again, a lot of us know that processed and canned foods aren't necessarily the best for us, but it does nothing to help the vibrational frequency of our bodies. It doesn't help us heal at all in that way. Now here's the crazy part. Therapeutic grade essential oils. Again, I say therapeutic grade because essential oils are unregulated and there's a big spectrum of the different qualities, but I won't get into that right now. But if you have high quality pure essential oils, there is a very big range. The lowest vibrational frequency of an essential oil that they know of is 52. And that's pretty up there, where the closest thing we talked about was fresh herbs only at like 27. So the lowest vibrational frequency of an essential oil that they know of is 52. And on the other end of that spectrum, the highest vibrational frequency that they have found in an essential oil is actually rose oil, which for many reasons is very coveted. It's one of the most expensive oils that you can get because it's such a finicky oil. It takes so many rose petals to create a bottle of essential oil. Rose essential oil, if it's that high therapeutic grade quality, will vibrate at 320 megahertz. And that is insane. And I believe from the research that I was looking at, on the top scale of that, the most high vibrational frequency essential oils, those are like the highest vibrational things that they have found, like in food, in other objects, and in anything. So, what does this mean, and how do we correlate that with ourselves? So again, like I mentioned before, a lot of times if you have an essential oil, like a reference book, or if you're looking at what essential oil is good for my skin, what essential oil is good for, my stomach or for my head or whatever it is, respiratory system, usually there is like a good range of essential oils that are recommended for specific uses. And the way that they kind of put those uses together is they're matched based on the vibrational frequency of that body system, which is so cool, so cool. So that's where we get into the science of this. So each essential oil vibrates at a different frequency. And the vibration of the essential oil will actually help raise or match the vibrational system of the body. I hope that made sense. So let's say your vibrational frequency is low, right? So if you use an essential oil that is at the optimal vibrational frequency that the body is supposed to be at, it will help your body naturally raise its vibration, right? So that is kind of the whole science behind how this works. And that is also how a lot of these reference books map out what oil is good for what system. It's usually based on the frequency and matching up those two frequencies. So, and to give an idea, because there is such a huge range of frequencies within essential oils, on the low end, so the essential oils that are on the low end of the spectrum as far as frequency goes, those are the oils that are going to make physical changes in the body. So those are the ones that help with the immune system, your skin, things like that, the very physical aspects of your body. The middle vibrational frequency oils, those are going to make emotional changes. And that's another big piece where you hear people talking about using essential oils for emotional healing, just that whole spectrum of changing your mood, changing your mindset. that is where those come in on the middle spectrum of the vibrational frequency. And on the high end of that, the highest vibrational frequency oils, like rose oil, that is where spiritual changes start to happen. So those oils, like frankincense, for example, have been traditionally used for spiritual ceremonies and meditation and prayer because it is on the high end of the spectrum and it makes spiritual changes in the body. So each body part, each system obviously correlates. Oh, thank you. It's because I'm a science nerd, that's why. I don't know why. I like knowing the science, and apparently nobody else knows much about this either, so it's fun, right? But it's so cool seeing how all this stuff like actually works, and that's what I've been like digging into. Like, how does this stuff really work with the body? So yeah. And another thing I kind of wanted to talk on is staying above the wellness line. That is a term that you might have heard people use when we're talking about essential oils, at least with myself and at least with the company that I choose to go through. We always talk about essential oils from a standpoint of supporting the body. And I'm sure like there's so much research out there and there's so many blog posts and, you know, varying opinions about people breaching into the realm of medical use, disease, that kind of stuff. So I kind of wanted to clear up that and it kind of shows via the vibrational frequency that, at least for myself, and at least for, you know, the company that I am with, we're not ever sharing based off of, hey, this is going to help heal you, this is going to treat you, this is going to cure you, because that is not the case. What these oils do is they help support your body. So depending on what body system and what vibrational frequency you are at, we can pair that up with an essential oil that will help our bodies raise back up to the normal optimal frequency that we're meant to be at to help the body heal itself. And I heard such an awesome example of this, because we all know that the body has the ability to heal in most circumstances. You know, I know that there are some issues where, you know, medical intervention is needed, and I'm not even going to go on that topic here because that's a whole nother topic. But I heard this awesome example, in terms of, you know, knowing that the body can heal itself and just needing to give it the optimal environment and support to do so. So if you fall down and you scrape your knee, or if you have a kid and he falls down and scrapes his knee, you know that you don't have to do anything to heal that, right? There are not really any action steps. All you need to do is you need to give your body the optimal environment to heal itself. So if you fall down and scrape your knee, you know that all you need to do is clean up that area and put a Band-Aid on it, and the body will heal itself. You just need to give it time and let it do what it does best, right? And it's the same idea with essential oils. So I know that it can kind of seem tricky, but what the essential oils are doing is, no, they are not a magic pill. They're not a medical treatment or anything in that realm. They're supporting our bodies and they're supporting our body systems, and they are giving our bodies the optimal space to do so. And again, by helping correlate and match the vibrational frequency of the essential oil to our body systems. And again, this doesn't even apply just to essential oils. I kind of have a feeling that this is kind of the basis behind crystal healing as well. There are a lot of people who use crystals in metaphysical healing. I have not looked into that, but I'm kind of getting the hint that that's kind of the basis behind, you know, why people use that and why people think that that works. You know, and again, I touched on that there's foods, if you use fresh herbs, fresh vegetables, those also have a vibrational frequency that can help support our bodies. The reason essential oils are a little different is because the vibrational frequency is so high, it has such a different effect. It's not to say that, you know, eating fresh fruits and fresh vegetables isn't good for you, because it absolutely is. But essential oils are just more potent in that factor, right? And they take it to such a different level, and they really help balance everything out and give our bodies the support and the environment to stay above that wellness line, right? Because if you think of the body, 62 to 68 megahertz is our optimal line of wellness. When we fall below that, that is when we start to experience like yuckiness, feeling sick, you know, that whole realm of stuff. So yeah, I'm trying to see if there's anything else that I didn't cover. Yes, Emily, me too. Like, I was actually just talking to somebody about this, like, I need to start practicing what I preach a little more, because I'm so good at talking to people about this, but I'm still definitely eating like goldfish crackers and, you know, but it's a work in progress. We're getting there. Yeah, so I didn't want to go into this here because, like I said, I am going to do a whole nother class coming up soon. I'm just kind of compiling the notes to this, going in deeper. But we actually have an entire list of each essential oil and the vibrational frequency that resonates at, as well as how that correlates to the body systems and what vibrational frequency each body system, each body part correlates at. And it really helps you see, you know, oh, that's why lavender is good for your skin. That's why, you know, this is good for that. And funny side note, I don't remember what it, maybe I can actually find it. Lavender, 118 megahertz. Yes. So lavender is one of those oils, if you're in the essential oil community, if you're, you know, broached into it even just a little bit, you always hear people talk about lavender as like the Swiss Army knife. It's the all-purpose oil of like, when in doubt, use lavender. And the reason is, and I don't have the list right up in front of me, but the reason is lavender will help raise the vibrational frequency of all parts of the body. So that's why when in doubt, you know, you can use it for your skin and for, you know, emotional stuff and sleep and, you know, like really anything. You can use lavender to support just about every aspect of the body. And that's what makes it so versatile. But there are other essential oils that are a bit more fine-tuned, that work best targeting on certain areas of the body as far as raising vibrational frequency. Can you post that? Yeah, so I think I'm actually going to post that list either in the groups or definitely going to go into that when I do this class. Yes, right? It's so crazy. And that was the thing, is like everybody always talked about, you know, oh, frankincense and white angelic and all this like high vibration, like high vibe oils. I'm like, but how do people know that? You know what I mean? Like, what exactly does that mean? How are they measuring this? You know, how does it make it any different than just plain old lavender? So it's so crazy. And especially the fact that somebody's mapped this out through the body parts and through the systems, and, you know, just seeing the changes that it can make, especially the fact that just, you know, holding a cup of coffee will lower your vibration as I'm sitting here drinking a cup of coffee. So what are you talking about? So, when you're talking about the frequency of oils, are you just talking about oils in general or Young Living? So this is in general. Again, so I actually have a list of the vibrational frequency of all sorts of different stuff. So like fresh fruits and vegetables, dried herbs, canned and processed food has 0 vibrational frequency. So the vibrational frequency is across the board for essential oils, assuming that they are pure. So I do have lists that have been compiled specifically for Young Living and specifically for other companies, the people who have researched that, as far as, you know, those specific blends. But for the most part, all essential oils will have a frequency. But again, the reason you want to have the most pure ones is because, like rose oil, for example, that is the highest vibrational frequency oil that they have found at 320 megahertz. Assuming it's pure. So if you have a rose oil that's diluted or not high quality, that vibrational frequency is most likely going to be a lot lower. Therefore, the therapeutic effects and the, you know, supporting effects that it has are not going to be as strong. But I have seen other lists as well for other companies, and then also just like general ranges of like, hey, lavender in general, this is kind of the range that we're looking at. So. But yeah, I do have like a huge list of like every single oil, every single blend, what frequency that's at, and it's so cool. So I'm definitely going to share that. Don't want to go too crazy as far as like the actual frequencies of each system, because again, I'm going to do a whole class on that, and I think that's better conveyed through like text and through images and things like that, you know, just for people that learn that way. So let me know if that's something that you're curious about, or if you want to join. Obviously, it's free. It's just going to be in an event, probably on this. I always want to call this like a page, but it's just my profile. So, setting up a class where we're going to go a lot more in depth on the vibrational frequencies of each particular body system, how that pairs up with the essential oils, more in depth on how those oils are helping support that body system because of the frequency, all that nitty-gritty science stuff. So, if you want an invite to that once that's created, let me know in a comment. And I will let you guys know. I want to look at food frequencies, right? So I do. So another little snippet that I wanted to research that I'm still looking at is, again, how they mapped out low frequency oils are good for physical changes, middle are good for emotional changes, and then the high ones are for the spiritual purposes. I am trying to dig around and find a list of all of the emotions and feelings and their vibrational frequencies, because that would be cool. And so far I've seen ranges, but it's not measured in megahertz like the essential oils and like the body is. It's almost on like a sliding scale of +1, -1. So I'm trying to figure out how that correlates exactly, but that's definitely something that I want to put in the class, because then we get onto the whole the video that I did on Well Oiled the other day on healing emotional trauma and shifting your mindset with essential oils. You know, it all kind of ties in. So I'm looking for that list. If anybody happens to know where you would find that. And also the chakras. I always say that wrong. I've dabbled a little bit into chakra healing. I've done a class. I'm certainly not like an expert on it by any means, but that is also where that comes from as well. You know, the different chakra points have a different vibrational frequency, and that's why you will see specific suggestions of even certain musical tones that you can use, like if you have the singing bowls or music therapy, that are good for targeting that specific chakra, or color therapy because the vibrational frequency of certain colors matches up with that. And that also goes into why there is a certain list of essential oils that are specifically for your third eye chakra or your heart chakra or the root or whatever it is. So, because I get so many questions and people are like, well, how do you know this stuff? And like, how do you know that it's actually working? You know, because I have worked with some people privately about healing their chakras, or, you know, helping them open and balance them and get them kind of vibrating at their optimal frequency. And that's the thing, is people are like, okay, well, essential oils, but, you know, or yoga poses or whatever, but how does that actually like work? Because it seems like it's all just hippy dippy stuff and you're just kind of like throwing stuff to the wind, and by the power of magic, it's just gonna happen. You're blowing my mind, colors, right? Like, yeah, so this is like a whole new topic that I'm breaching, and it's so crazy. It's so crazy. So anyway, yes, I'm putting together a huge, it won't be a huge class. It'll be hopefully a pretty small, pretty quick class in the span of about a day. But so many ideas like this, just, you know, once you know about the vibrational frequency aspect of this, that branches into so many other realms and other things that all kind of correlate with it. So let me know if you guys have any other questions that you want me to address in that class. Any specific topics maybe that you can think of that have to do with vibrational frequency, not just the physical body and oils, but like chakras, if that's something that you're interested in. I did actually do a chakra class in relation to essential oils a while back, but it didn't really touch much on the frequency, so I might even go through and maybe reformat that a little bit for people who really like that science aspect like I do. If you have any questions, or if you just want to attend, let me know, and I will let you guys know as soon as I get that put together, because it's going to be awesome. All right, bye.